Being a good builder in Fortnite is often overcomplicated, but according to me, being a good builder in Fortnite can be attributed to 4 elemental subcategories within the big building category. These type of videos take me a lot of time, and you using code energy in the item shop truly help me out a ton. If I get 50 code users, then I will release a Google Doc file with all these points summarized within it. I'm currently on 10. Please consider using it as it's even free and won't take you more than 10 seconds. Please and thank you. The first subcategory is precision. Precision starts with your crosshair placement even while building. It is very important to have a proper crosshair placement, as a lot of players end up placing builds everywhere, leading them to get shot easily, all while wasting a ton of mats. Building in Fortnite is done on the grid system. Basically, the whole area in Fortnite is divided in grids as such, making it so you can only build on these grids. Having your crosshair here will build your stair right behind you, but having your crosshair here will place the stair directly in front of you. Precision also involves knowing what build move to perform according to the situation you might be in. Usually a fight is started off with your enemy being right in front of you, and in that case you should ramp rush. This is pretty simple to perform. All you have to do is keep placing stairs while running along with the wall in front. If you're a beginner or someone who doesn't know any of these moves, then I highly recommend opening a free build or 1v1 map and practicing these moves along with the video. If you can ramp rush with the wall in front, then you could also use a floor below it, and if you can do this, then you could also place an additional stair with it. After reaching to a similar height level, you should generally perform 90s. 90s are pretty simple to perform, where you start off with a stair, place 2 walls on the side like this, then jump and place a floor and a stair. This process is then repeated till you get height. If and only if you have mastered normal 90s, then you should consider learning double 90s, which involves you doing 2 90s in one jump. A thing to keep in mind is that it is okay if you're a beginner and it is taking you time to learn some of these moves. I would recommend you pausing the video and trying to learn and get a gist of these basic moves before on to their advanced version. For beginners, if there is a player behind you, then you should double ramp, in which you are running on one ramp and have another ramp above your head protecting you. For intermediate players, you should consider learning the FIFO cone, in which while double ramping you jump around and place 2 walls and 1 cone. This provides way more protection than the double ramp and provides way more options for you to branch off to if needed. Beginners could also try to learn this if they believe they can do it. Another build move is called the side jump. For beginners, try to learn the basic side jump, which involves you running up a ramp, placing a cone, and then jumping to the side with the floor below you on which you land. Movement is key in this. Try jumping from this side of the ramp to make it easier. For intermediates, you could do a protected side jump, which involves you doing a side jump with a wall and a stair on which you should land and placing a cone above. All while doing this makes it even more effective. Remember that learning new things might take a long time, but once you learn it, I guarantee that you will integrate it within your muscle memory, basically meaning it will become much easier for you. These were most of the basic moves that you definitely should learn, which leads me to the second subcategory, which is editing. All of the previous builds I have mentioned involve there being no editing, but editing is a crucial part of Fortnite and is something that makes Fortnite the unique game it is. For some beginners, it might be difficult to edit with building, but practice makes you better, so make sure to do a ton of it. Fortnite basically has single, double, triple and quadruple edits. For beginners, you should start off with single edits. Running up a ramp, placing a cone, then editing through is a single edit, but doing single edits isn't very effective, so I recommend even beginners to try and learn double edits, in which you edit through both a floor and a cone. But if you're someone who already have mastered double edits from any angle, then you could proceed to triple edits. Ramp rushing along with triple editing is a great way to not get blocked while ramp rushing your opponent. Remember, you should try to always edit from the front part of the floor and cones, as editing from behind can cause you to edit through the build and can mess you up pretty badly. A feature that generally makes editing easier for most players is edit on release, which I don't use and recommend you to not use also. I explain it further in this video that you could watch after this video. Basically, edit on release decreases the amount of control you have over your edits. By the way, if you're curious on what's a quadruple edit, then it is performed as such, but in my opinion it isn't very useful in the beginning, but it might be useful if you want to become advanced, as in some situations where you are in your box and have to escape, a quadruple edit might come into play. Building becomes way more advanced when editing comes into play. For beginners, start off slow, learning how to incorporate editing into your builds. For beginners, this may include learning how to make a box as fast as possible, learning how to change boxes as quick as possible, learning how to incorporate peanut butter edits to get safe damage on your opponent. For intermediates, it is important to expand their knowledge on the best edits and how to perform them, for which you could watch my this video. To become advanced, all you need to do is to try to perfect everything, which will never happen, but you will get better at it every day, even if it is only by a 0.1%. The third subcategory is piece control. The term I think was originally popularized by content creator Jarian. Piece control is basically basically where you build and trap your enemy in your box so that you can kill him with ease. Usually piece control is pretty advanced for most players, but I think piece control could be learned even by beginners, as I think it is better to learn useful moves from the beginning so that you have a good baseline and don't need to unlearn something bad, which is way harder than learning something new. Beginner piece control moves could be blocking off your enemies with cones and walls. It could also be throwing stales while ramp rushing to block off your enemies. For intermediates, it is better for them to learn how to predict their enemies' movements so that they could box or block the enemy to hinder their movement. There are only 5 real ways the enemy can disengage from their box. If you have taken their wall, the right side, the left side, the back, downwards, upwards, or directly in front of you, which is used quite less. If you predict that your opponent is going to the right, then you could make a box exactly like this, getting a shot in and then resetting the wall and then trying to finish off the player with your second shot. Same can be done with the left side, downwards and upwards. If the enemy just edits and runs out at you, then that could only be prevented if you are taking the wall properly with a cone below you and having your own walls around you so that you don't get counter piece control. To become advanced, again you must try to perfect everything, performing piece control from almost every angle that you may be in. There are a ton of useful piece control maps that you could use to perfect your piece control, such as Jaivan's how to piece control map, using moves such as high walls and high wall side jumps to perfect it even further. There are just so many variations in which you could piece control that I just can't tell all of them in this video. You could do this and many different variations that you will only find out by playing and fighting more. Some drills you could also do is the downwards double edit, this high wall side jump one, this high wall one, this sideways one, and this downwards one. Another great map is the Raiders piece control map that has many piece control drills that you could also practice with. The fourth subcategory is defense. In any fighting related game, there is always the aspect of offense and defense, with them being used in different situations for different needs, and Fortnite is no exception to it. While everyone would want to play offensively rather than defensively, but that just isn't possible. For beginners, it is really important to know just how to make a box, switching from different boxes as quick as possible, and for becoming advanced players, learning how to play both defensively and offensively at the same time. If you see many pro players gameplay, you will notice such type of moves they make while playing defensively. Getting a shot back at the opponent if you are low and playing defensively, then getting a bit of damage on the opponent will be the best option. The best defense is a good offense. If you have played many Fortnite games, then you will notice that there are some players that you just can't get rid of no matter how many boxes you switch. That is why getting a bit of damage on the opponent can switch the tables and make them disengage and play defensively themselves. This can only be practiced by playing more and more, therefore getting in more fights. Some quick tips for playing defensively would be usually being in 2 boxes instead of 1 to have more room to rotate to, and at the same time avoid being pieced by your opponent. If someone jumps in front of your wall as such with a stair, then you could just do a peanut butter edit and place a cone above, which usually causes the player to jump and panic, which can help you get some damage on him. Make sure to always have a cone in your box while doing this so that the opponent doesn't just place a stair in your face and blocks you off. Make sure to practice making these type of awkward edits with your stairs. You could load up a creative map and practice rotating the stair in all sort of directions. Also, if you didn't know that you could just edit from here to here to rotate the stair instead of making a longer edit as such. You could also play defensively in a baity way as such, baiting the enemy, making him think you're going in one direction but rather going to the other direction instead. Or you could also bait him in both directions and stay in the same box which is fully built. Make sure the boxes you are in have all the cones and walls in it. There are many players that make 2 boxes, and while they are making it, the opponents just takes their wall and places a wall in the middle, finishing them off. There are some things that you shouldn't be doing, such as 50-50s, especially if you're low. For example, if someone is in your cone, then you shouldn't just edit them down on your face. You could rather edit them down from one tile back. If you do try to pre-fire, then you shouldn't just instantly disengage to the side, as there are many players that try to pre-fire the opponent, but then if they are fighting a good opponent, then the opponent just takes their wall and lands a bigger shot on them instead. Another common mistake many players make is making a super wide edit while the opponent just have their shotgun out. Good players such as Peterbot have this in mind and get many free kills just by having his shotgun out and finishing off the play. Instead, you could make a bait edit and hold the wall so that the opponent shoots, and then you could piece him up and get a shot on him. Another major tip for defense is learning how to use the proper peaks for the right situation. For example, if your opponent is right here on a stair, then a bottom 3 tile edit will make it so you could shoot the enemy but he can't shoot you. Many players just do the peanut butter edit in every single situation, which just isn't viable, as in most situation it doesn't even give you the right hand peek, which is the primary purpose of that specific edit in the first place. I go over this in this video and many other edits that you should perform properly. If this video gives give you any value, then please consider using code NHZ, as it truly helps me out a ton. If I get 50 code users, then a Google Doc sheet with all the major points summarized will be pinned in the comments below.